get around and maybe gank the mid lane, you can get a bit of Baron control perhaps, but we don't usually see that until about 25-30 minutes when teams are grouping up anyway. You lose a lot of pressure from that ultimate if you take Pantheon into the top lane, but it is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, so Pantheon, again, like we said, he's flex, he can go jungle or top lane. Xin can go jungle or top lane. I wouldn't expect, the thing about Xin top lane is, like you said, it's a bit of a cheese pick, but a lot of people at this level will know the level of damage that Xin Zhao can put out anyway. So they won't be falling prey to the amount of damage that Xin can put down.
Especially against someone like a Yorick who's got relatively good sustain with his Omen of Pestilence.
Yeah, and obviously Yorick as well will definitely have a better time against Xin than most other people would. Like you said, Xin really looks to play on the fact that he's got good sustain. Every 3 auto attacks he gets a lot of health back. You're going up against a Yorick who will also similarly have that level of sustain in his bag. Obviously it's a little bit harder for Yorick to sustain, relies on his mana far more heavily than Xin does. But again, it's just an interesting one, and I'm going to be looking forward to see where they eventually look to put these two champions, because it'll really look to dictate how they are aiming to play the game as well. If you've got that Pantheon top lane, you're going to be really looking to go aggressive and put a lot of pressure down onto the Yorick. If you've got that Xin Zhao top lane, I guess it kind of works on a similar aspect, but Pantheon has a bit more presence across the map earlier on, has a little bit more point-and-click effective ganks. I mean, Xin Zhao can do the same, but he obviously doesn't have a stun. He has more of a knock-up and an audacious charge, which is the slow, which takes a little bit more time to get rolling. And also, you can't go for those early dragons as well with Xin Zhao. It's far more effective as Pantheon to go for the early dragons. So, to see,
I'm wondering what Beazor's going to pick here for Quad Cannon. We have to assume this is the mid lane pick coming out. You're not going to have a Yorick in mid or a Nocturne mid. So Quad Cannon, there's still a few champions available for him here. The Syndra's around, and he's a very good Syndra player. Against the Lissandra, Syndra does all right. They've both got pretty good harass in the early game, a lot of damage, and then Syndra can get locked down. Doesn't have an easy ability to knock Lissandra out of that glacial path, of course, because she goes untargetable as she gets towards you.
Just waiting on this one. It could be Syndra.
It's not going to be T-Man.
I'm certain it wouldn't be T-Man.
Not going to be T-Man.
We're just waiting.
No,
just waiting right now. Could even be a placeholder. We may have to go through Champions League all over again. It's going to be Veigar. Wow, that's big for Quad Cannon. I've not seen him play too much Veigar, especially in the Null, where we tend to see the majority of his play. So, yeah, it's going to be Quad Cannon getting that Veigar in the mid lane. Going up against GeoBear's Lissandra, I'll be very impressed. And it may even be Xin Zhao top lane. It's like we said, sustain versus sustain, obviously won't be harassed out of lane as easily as some other champions. Every 3 auto attacks, he gets a little bit of health back. Now, what's really interesting is there's a very cheesy way you can play Xin Zhao, which is AP Xin Zhao, which is
heals and spears.
Heals and spears, and the other word for women. And but essentially, you can have Xin Zhao every 3 auto attacks. You get a lot of AP, and it really affects the healing you get per hit. And then you go for like a Lichbane build, and you can tank turrets for days. And you can split push. I wouldn't expect him because it's just such a cheesy build. Doesn't really work out very well. It doesn't do too much unless you're really far ahead. So I'd expect him to be going for an AD Trinity Force base build. But
the problem there for Infused is if he goes too heavy into the AD build, they don't have a massive tank on their team. Only Wawa really is the tank, and then GeoBear to some degree as well, because GeoBear will be relatively tanky as he gets that Frozen 2-min as well. But you need Rifty to build perhaps Randuin's or something like that, just to get a little bit more tankability on their team. They do like their mid-game spikes, and we saw that in the last game. They didn't go for many tanky items. They just went full-out aggression, double Melanomicons on Rifty. But I expect to see a little bit of tankability coming in from that top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would be interested to see where he does look to go. I imagine it'll be very early AD, and then he'll look to be going towards a more tanky build so he can sustain in fights. Full AD Xin Zhao is great when you're ahead, and great when you have the impetus, and great when you have the commanding lead, and you can look to make all the decisions in the game, which you would expect Infused to have. But obviously not so good if you're behind.
Because you're jumping into the middle of the enemy team most of the time, and then perhaps you can knock a few of them back, but against Vidius, who's got that paranoia, against the Event Horizon coming out from Veigar as well, I expect to see a lot of Mercury Treads being picked up here on Infused. Otherwise, they're going to get locked down by that by the Event Horizon, the stun coming out from Veigar. You've got a bubble to put on top of that. You've got the Tidal Wave to put on top of that. You've got paranoia and the fear coming on out from Nocturne as well. There's a very high ability here for the Dongers to lock someone down and take them out of the fight very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, Rifty runs a rune page called Xin Zhao, which you would imagine
would
be the Xin that he's
assume.
potentially bringing now. And he runs flat AD, armor pen, and then just armor and magic resist. So a lot of impetus put on the armor pen though. He really, really loves that. He's got a lot. He's got full 12 armor pen right there, which should burn through the majority of counteracting rune pages that Yorick will be running. So he wants to get that early damage off. Now, think about armor pen with 3 Talon Strike. If you have the 3 Talon Strike, it's a lot of extra damage on your auto attacks. With that armor pen, it'll be doing more damage, so he's looking to really get a lot of early damage down with his Yorick. And probably the best way to play against Yorick is early aggression. So I would expect to see Audacious Charge 3 Talon Strike as a level 2 all-in tactic coming in from Rifty. Doesn't have that Ignite though, so wouldn't be expecting it to be...
No, Rifty does have the Ignite.
Oh, Rifty does have the
Ignite.
He
switched to Ignite right at the last moment.
Wow,
so he is going to go aggressive in that lane, and it shows just how aggressive Infused want to be. They're giving up that Dragon Control. Actually a teleport on GeoBear. So I expect to see him roaming around quite a bit as well with that teleport, getting in with the Frozen Tomb. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Lissandra is a champion on whom you have enough burst damage that you don't need the Ignite to follow up on it, and you're relatively safe as well, so you don't need a heal or a barrier to keep yourself safe, especially against someone like a Vigar who, if he catches out Lissandra, she's probably dead, even if she heals her barriers, because of the Primordial Burst and the percentage enemy's AP damage that does. So she's going to be going for the roaming around the map, trying to control those map objectives and get some early ganks off, perhaps even an early teleport to top lane if they want to go all in.
Yeah. So, like you said, eventually it will be GeoBear moving into that split push role.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Xin Zhao will be moving in towards a more teamfight-oriented role. But he wants to get the damage on Yorick early. And with that Ignite, he will hold the advantage. He can easily go for that level 2 all-in and potentially even get the kill quite early on. And that's something you do tend to see Xin Zhao's do when they play in lane. They really go aggressive early. They level that 3 Talon Strike first as opposed to the Audacious Charge that you see jungle Xin Zhao's level. And then they look to get... engages every single time that they have their cooldowns up.
Yeah, they do. Infused love to be aggressive. They love to put extra pressure down, and I expect to see them just as aggressive in the last game as they were in the last game. Now, Cambridge Dongers have to remember that Infused are coming off a win. They're the underdogs in this game. I think they need to be a little bit cautious, because the Dongers are known for being quite a strong team, especially in the Newell. They're high echelons of the Newell, and there's always the worry that they're going to come in here and just be like, well, we might as well go all out because we're the underdogs, so we have to be really aggressive. If they play safely, their team coordination and their play just as a team could quite easily win them this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, they've got a lot of history behind them. They've been in the top 8 for the Newell for a very long time. And what that means, guys, is they're one of the top 8 university teams in the country.
Yeah.
And to have qualified for this, they are the top university team in the country. They went through a lot of... weeks of tournaments to get here.
Probably the longest qualification process of any team.
Yeah, I believe it was actually a 3-week singular tournament qualification process, but to get to that point, to be in contention for it, they had to go all the way back to the qualification tournament before the summer. So that was the summer qualification tournament. They had another qualification tournament in September
and the thing about the Cambridge Dongers is they're consistently good in that tournament. They had to be consistently good over the course of 3 weeks. Like, people like Infused and FM, yes, they've been consistently good, but you could have come out of the blue, just won one tournament, won one qualifier, and then actually got yourself into the Riot 4 Nations, perhaps not be as consistent as a team like the Cambridge Dongers.
Yeah, and Yorick, they just had a bit of a pause coming up for Cambridge, so we'll find out. Unfortunately, guys, another delay to the game start. We are very, very sorry. We have to just wait. I think someone's looking for a reconnect. As there's a
Infused went relatively aggressive there. They went into the mid lane and pushed up the bush, but they're not really going to do anything too aggressive here. I think they're backing away. They're going to get a bit of extra vision, just make sure that Cambridge Dongers aren't doing anything with their early game. We haven't seen that much like the early game, the level 1 action in these games. People are being a bit passive on the 4.20 patch, and I think that's especially because if you take too much damage in a level 1 fight, you can't get your buff easily because it does so much more damage now. You can't have your jungler below perhaps 3/4 health really when he wants to start his clear. If he wants to complete a complete clear, you only have those 2 red pots now. You don't have the extra sustain that you used to.
Yeah, we are just waiting. Game should be getting back into the Rift right now. We're just everyone's saying ready, and the pause is about to get unpaused, but there we are. There is a ward here where Infused are looking to make their invade path, so Cambridge will be able to pick that up. Actually, Carnifex on one of his best champions in the form of that Lucian, so he will be fairly happy.
Will he be flexing throughout this game? Do you think he'll be showing I think we'll
see some Carniflexing. I'm really looking forward to it. He's definitely an AD carry that you don't want to underrate. You don't want to give him any space because he will take advantage of it. The guy is very, very good on Lucian and has impressed throughout the Null season too, but they are going up against this very strong bot lane in the form of Rafa and Wawa, and Rafa again getting that Corki who performed so well last game. And we are just waiting now. Evidius on Nocturne will be my thing to watch this game. It is a bit of an interesting pick, although Quad Cannon on Vygar will indeed also have a similar.
Yeah, he's gone for that Ignite as well, so that shows he wants to be quite aggressive in that lane. Sometimes you see Vygar's going for the heal, or for in the olden days you saw the barrier just because they want to be a little bit safe. Though it's quite easy to get caught out as a Vygar, especially if you popped your event horizon already and don't have it off cooldown to stop people going in. Actually looks like Rifty's going to go mid lane versus Vygar.
That's so very interesting, actually. Quad Cannon, they want to put a lot of pressure onto him, and I love this. It's a big lane swap here. They're going back to his old role in top, and what's very interesting is Quad Cannon immediately very aggressive off the bat, playing how a lot of top Vygar players advise people to play, which is, oh wow, the damage coming onto Quad Cannon already. That
audacious charge is so much from Rifty, and Rifty, well, of course, Quad Cannon would have expected to be playing up against Alessandro in mid lane, meaning that he's probably itemized and got his, yeah, look at that, he's only got 23 armor on this Vygar in the mid lane. He's not going to be able to get away from the harass from Rifty. If you can harass him down from range, because he does have that range advantage, help him out, but Rifty's going to go all in level 2. Look at the damage. Quad Cannon has to flash really early on.
He had to, that. If he had waited any longer, he would have died.
The knock up from the 3 talents, right? He would have been a very dead Vygar, and perhaps now lamenting the fact he took Ignite instead of a heal.
Yeah, well, obviously he just wasn't expecting to go against Zinzao, but I don't think we did not expect Zinzao here.
Carniflex getting hooked there. So much damage from the Phosphorus Bomb, pops the Piercing Light out, but he's down to 300 HP, and Infused putting a lot of early pressure on these Cambridge Doggers.
Yeah, well, they're, again, pulling out tactics that you just wouldn't expect, trying to be ahead of the game, and Quad Cannon, again, we're seeing him just trying to farm up here. He's trying to be aggressive, has probably got that stun under his belt now, so if he does indeed have the event horizon, so if Rifty attempts to go aggressive again, Quad Cannon will be able to do a little bit more than he wouldn't be able to previously, but Rifty definitely holding the advantage, burning that flash very early on.
Definitely, and meanwhile in the top lane, GeoBear facing up against Maznarek. Maznarek putting a bit of pressure down, of course, with the total biscuits on GeoBear, he'll be able to sustain himself up a little bit, but Maznarek has that crystalline flask, so he'll be relatively healthy in that top lane. Dan coming around, is he going to spot VDS in the bush? He is! Is he going to be able to get onto him? He is! Oh, and VDS needs to be so careful, does block the stun with the spell shield flash in by Dan. Will he have enough damage? Heartseeker strike, one more spear will be enough, and Dan picks up first blood.
Yeah, Evidius unfortunately is back in a particularly precarious area. Caught out by Dan there in the counter event. He's going to go ahead and take away the wolves while he's at it too. Actually going to back off from those wolves just in case he gets collapsed on. But unfortunately, double buffs lost for Evidius there.
It's an early dragon.
Yeah,
Infused are going for the dragon.
They're going for the early dragon. They can do it. They do have the Pantheon. There is no ward coverage right now. And they aren't suspecting it. And Dan can indeed block those dragon ult hits with his passive, which is absolutely fantastic for the Pantheon.
And what Wawa has done in the spot lane, he put a lot of pressure down early. So Carnifex and Imbezwa just playing a lot safer than they would have done usually. It means that Rafa can stand all the way back here, and they can pretend that Wawa's still around. They don't have any vision of this bush at the bottom of the lane. So Wawa is able to leave the lane for a long period of time and just help Dan get that dragon started.
Yeah, and they are going to be able to take this first dragon of the game very early on with that Pantheon, and nothing being suspected by the Cambridge Dongers here, and Infused with their crazy tactics again, starting to win out this game from the very early stages. Got to have a big boost for Infused, being that they potentially are putting themselves in a position where they could go 2 up. But Maznarek now going up against Rifty, and look at the damage Maznarek is doing early on to Rifty. Has to be very careful now, and they've decided to lane swap over here. It does mean they lose a lot of pressure on the bot side of the map because their teleport is now in the mid lane, and that means dragons now will be a big issue for Cambridge.
But they have 6 minutes before that is another issue, so it's a smart swap from them at the moment. Dan's going to come in onto Maznarek. Maznarek might be able to 2v1. This doesn't have Ignite, of course, and will go down. Rifty picks up the kill. If he'd had Ignite, I think he probably would have got Dan down there, but Rifty, with that lockup from the 3 talent strike and the audacious charge, manages to take out the Yorick.
Yeah, the problem with mid lane is it's very easy to get into that mid lane for a gank, and Yorick having no escapes means it's more of a risky area for him to be in, because the jungle has a less time to travel to be able to get to you, which makes it very easy for a Zinzao Pantheon combo to get a gank off in the mid lane, and unfortunately just on Maznarek.
Rafa getting very low, Valkyrie's away. The exhaust went down a little bit early there.
Oh,
a nice aqua prism. Wawa does have his flash available if he wants to get out. piercing light, not going to get him low enough, but a good little fight there for Cambridge Longers in the bot lane.
Yeah, but right now it won't be too bad for Infused.
Obedience on Rifty. Rifty does have the flash available. He goes under the tower with that Fear now. Of course, Fear no longer random, automatically sends you away from where the target is fearing you.
Yeah, indeed, and unfortunately, Obedience did not have the ability. He's actually going to get counter invaded by Dan again, potentially here. Dan being very aggressive with his counter jungle. Has to be careful though, he could potentially see, I think Dan was expecting him to be at the walls. He will catch him out. He's
going to take a lot of damage from this drop. Yeah, Dan might be able to pick up another kill. Obedience doesn't have his flash. It's a very dead Nocturne. He's only seeing darkness at the moment as he goes back to the fountain for his second death of the game.
The problem with Nocturne though, you just can't duel very easily in the jungle, especially against the Pantheon. Wawa and Rafa are going to stick around as Dan heads down.
The wall Carnifexes and does have the suit's going to try and jump away. Flash hook.
Nice
Bezwa flashes away from it. A Flay goes in, he hooks the minion, Suit's going onto it. There's the heal. Bezwa almost going down there, not quite. Wawa will be going down there. Now coming in for the gank as well. Dan's going to be the target. Carnifexes and Dan does not have flash, as you say. Going to try and get the kill, but Bezwa picks it up with their ebb and flow. And a good little trade there for Cambridge Longers. Gives them 2 kills. But no deaths in return.
Actually, look at the build path that Pantheon has gone. Dan picking up a Brutalizer before picking up his Ranger's Trailblazer. That allowed him to do so much damage in that counter invade and is definitely giving him a bit of an advantage over Obedience. The only thing Obedience has got going for him right now is that he's got a lot of farm under his belt and almost 10 CS and almost staying level with Dan in terms of experience too. So once he hits 6, I expect Obedience to be doing a little bit more on the map. We haven't seen much of him recently. There was just a little bit of a gank early on, but you know, Obedience is a very, very good Nocturne player. Obviously wasn't expecting these counter invades. You really can't do much when a Pantheon decides to walk into your jungle when you're that low. And
he's almost level 6 though. He'll pick up these Raptors or perhaps his red buff, hit that level 6, and that's when we expect him to be going for the ganks. I wouldn't be surprised if GeoBear, the target, has been getting hit by quite a few event horizons, and with Quad Cannon you really want to start getting him fed early in the game, especially with that Primordial Burst. If you can get him ahead, then he's going to be doing a lot of damage. Mesnak will go down to Rifty in the mid lane. So much damage onto him. Pops the Omen of Death, but he's not going to be chasing Rifty under the tower for too long. Going to go down in a couple of seconds, just getting a few CS before that ghoul does disappear.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you're going up against a Xin Zhao, you've got triple longsword and a Vampiric Scepter. It's just, unfortunately, not much you can do about that really, as again, Quad Cannon having to flash away.
Yeah, he had to flash away because Dan came in with a Grand Skyfall, but Quad Cannon does manage to escape, and Vidius does have the paranoia here, so they do need to be a little bit careful.
They are going to try and dive Quad Cannon.
Yep, Quad Cannon is going to be the dive target. Frozen Tomb is so big. Dan tanks up a couple of tower shots, but will be able to get away, and there was no paranoia used there by Vidius, meaning that there is no hope for Quad Cannon.
Yeah, Quad Cannon's really been shut down this game. Had a very hard early laning phase as he was going up against Rifty. Obviously, Xin Zhao with very good pickup against Veigar because it's so easy to jump onto him as he's trying to farm and get a lot of early damage down. Obviously, Veigar has a low base HP pool, so Rifty can take advantage of that to the maximum. And now Yorick has managed to pick up a bit of armor. He may be okay, but Rifty is just so far ahead at this point. He's really having a great time. He's 27 CS over Yorick and another 30 CS up over Quad Cannon. So that lane swap really working out for Infused. Really enjoy that they managed to put their top laner and mid laner into those different lanes, and they both are comfortable in that role too. So again, very interesting. And we talked about the way that Infused innovate, and they really are innovators.
They're willing to do things that might be slightly outside their comfort zone, which is what I love about Infused. Like, even Wawa moving to support originally, Paranoid comes into the mid lane, lots of damage coming down onto Rifty. He's going to go down, nicely played there by Vidius. Meanwhile, bot lane, Wawa did get onto Carnifexen, but he's going to get taken quite low. Rapper also very, very low on HP. Almost went down there. Good trades here from Lucian and Nami. Bezwa doing a great job landing those Aqua Prisms.
I've got to say, Carnifexism and Bezwa have really dominated this bot lane with Rapper against Rapper. They are 15 CS up at this point. They've had to have a lot of input from Dan to keep this lane floating. Got to say, Carnifex has had a really great game on Lucian. He's one of his best champions, and Infused didn't think that was the area that they wanted to ban. They didn't even ban Quad Cannon Syndra, which I actually thought he probably would have gone for. Quad Cannon attempting to be aggressive, and that's what you see good Veigar players do. They'll use that Baleful Strike aggressively, not just to farm minions. They'll use it as a harass tool.
He's leveled it up to level 4 as well, maxing that first, which is not what we tend to see. We tend to see Event Horizon first for the longer duration on the stun.
Yeah, but obviously going for that Baleful Strike means you get more AP per kill and things like that. And also it means he can harass with it. Like you said, Oh, GeoBear's going to take a lot of damage here.
Here's Event Horizon going down to him, but he can go back in on this because Quad Cannon actually does now have... Oh, he baited out the ultimate. Rifty's there as well. Teleport coming in. Quad Cannon picks up one. Here comes Maz now. He pops the Omen of Death on Quad Cannon. That is such a smart move because they can turn on to Rifty. Event Horizon will be up in just a second. There it is, but Rifty actually going inside that Event Horizon, not getting stunned up. Maz now needs to be careful. Does help pick up the kill. They lose the Dragon, but they pick up 2, and Cambridge Dongers slowly eking their way back into this game.
They're waiting for Avidius to come and check. There is support from Bezwar
but Bezwar
too, know about it.
Isn't there as well. Paranoia not available though. Such a long cooldown.
Wow.
The Aqua Prism on point again. We do see Wawa flashing his way away, and that is the flash burn on Wawa for basically nothing there from Cambridge Dongers. Conifex isn't going to go aggressive.
Yeah, Conifex isn't going very aggressive. I'm really enjoying the play from Cambridge Dongers bot lane. They've actually managed to put themselves ahead in gold, even though they're 2 dragons down though. 2 big loss in terms of dragons, but I've got to say, Cambridge Dongers looking stronger than you want, mate, coming out of the rafters here against Infused.
They are doing exceptionally well. Glacial Pass used there by GeoBear. Ring of Frost has come down as well, but Maznarek can trade pretty well at the moment. He's going to back away slowly. He has got actually those ninja tabbies, so he's itemization against the Xin Zhao, but it looks like they've actually decided Quad Cannon, you can go back mid now. Rifty is not so much of a problem anymore now that you've got a little bit of AP behind you with that Memphis Strike, but Rifty jumps onto him. Event Horizon not going to connect, and that is quite big. They need to be careful because Dan's coming in from the side as well. Rifty's going to die, but BDS is here.
Oh, wow.
But look at that. As soon as I say Rifty's not a problem, he gets the kill. And it's just, if the Event Horizon doesn't quite land, Rifty's going to survive every single time.
Unfortunately, it just was that Event Horizon. Actually,
Dan's actually going to die. That's going to go onto VDS. He doesn't have anything to get away. Dan tanking it up. GeoBear coming from the side as well, just to make sure they secured the kill. But a nice little tower dive there from Infused.
Unfortunately, Quad Cannon, like we said, just missed the Event Horizon there. And that was the entire issue there.
Here comes the Grand Skyfall into bot lane. They're going to be able to get away from that one. Just walk straight out. Dan not quite timing that one properly.
Yeah, they hang around though. GeoBear looks like he wants to make his way down. There's a lot of pink wards to get through though, so I don't think it'll be completely uneventful.
It's Yorick versus Lissandra, and Lissandra will take a lot of damage. Look at that, clearing out the pink ward, but one Omen of Pestilence took about a third of his HP off there. Really good harassment there from Maznarek.
Yeah, and actually Dan putting a lot of pressure down this spot lane while we're getting
he
very
needs to be careful because the Paranoia is available for VDS. Dan going
so
slow, jumps back in. Paranoia has to be popped. Come on, VDS, you need to get in there. Carnifex is very, very low. He can do it. There we go. He goes on to Dan. Wow, that's the next target. He's going to go on to him. Rafa actually going very aggressive. Doesn't have enough mana for Valkyrie. Double kill for VDS. Rafa's the next target. He hasn't got his flash available. Carnifex gets the Grom backer. The teleport does come in. VDS chasing the long way around. Maznarek coming from the side. Oh, actually managing to hit right at the end of that Dustbringer. Rafa still not got the mana for the Valkyrie, but will be able to walk down towards the bottom side and get away towards safety.
Quad Cannon again being forced to lane up against Rifty in the top lane. I don't think that's something he wants. He's going to back off yet again. It's really difficult right now. Look at the items that Rifty's gone for. He's gone for basically early to mid-game power spikes with all of these tier 2 items that build differently into different build paths. He's basically saying he wants a Trinity Force and he also wants a Blade the Ruin King and potentially even wants a Ghost Blade, but he's just built all the components of them first to give him that big early to mid-game power spike.
And the fact he's 5 and 2 makes it absolutely huge. Omen of Death popped here on Maznarek. He's going to try and fight up against Rifty, but the Glacial Path comes across. Foes and 2 onto Maznarek. That's a very dead Yorick. Once more returns to the grave, and he will be digging his own one for a while now. Goes back to the fountain for the next 30 seconds or so, and with the Dragon coming up in just a couple of minutes, you have to wonder whether Cambridge Dongers will be able to secure their first Dragon of the game or even put some pressure on it, because thus far we've seen both of them going across to Infused.
Yeah. Avidius again, he's managed to catch up here with that brilliant gank in the bottom. Has he gone? Oh no, again. Oh, nice block on the stun though.
Avidius blocks out the stun with the spell shield. He will get under the tower, but that damage from Dan is huge. Quad Cannon coming in though, they need to be careful. Look at the damage onto Dan. He gets Aqua Prisms up and Quad Cannon will pick up the kill with the Ignite. Nicely done there. He gets a kill for himself. It's his third of the game. Gets him that little bit of extra gold. Actually got for early home guards as well on that Vigo.
Yeah, again, just gets lane quicker. Oh wow,
nice
damage goes to GeoBear.
There's no primordial bust, but the Aqua Prism will lock him on the tower. That was gorgeous. Will it chase him all the way down? Minions! Red buff! Not quite enough. GeoBear gets away with the Glacial Path and just about survives, but a great combination. That's what we talked about. The Aqua Prism, the Event Horizon, the Paranoia. They have so much CC they can lock one target down.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a check how much AP plus 61, so not a massive amount for Quad Cannon, but he's had a very difficult early game right now. I think he's waiting to get that Deathfire Grasp before he can really start to do a lot of work on the map. 1 minute until Dragon's up. I don't think Cambridge Dongers have the timer on this, so they're going to have to get there and get vision down very soon.
Well, Vidius, now that he's got back into the game, actually picked up Devourer enchant on his Rangers Trailblazer, so he's trying to farm up his jungle as quickly as possible. He's sitting on 12 stacks on that at the moment, so he's doing 52 extra magic damage on him.
Yeah, okay, so that's pretty good for Vidius right now. He's starting to stack that one up. Vision has come down for the Dragon now, so they're going to have that. Pink Ward probably will be coming out very soon from Wawa, and they will look to clear that up. 45 seconds time. Ye Old Dragon will be spawning as again Quad Cannon looks to be the target of another Grand Skyfall gone awry as Maznarik is making his own
coming in from the side, but he needs to be careful because Geobert and Dan have a lot of damage. He has to flash away. Event Horizon on Dan though. Here comes the Paranoid, but Wawa is there with the Lantern and manages to get that safely away. Dan escaping his life very well, and Wawa rotating really well there as well. We see Rifty coming down. He's the Fed carry at the moment on Infused 6-2. Almost picked up that Triforce as well. He's going to come in from the side, but a nice little ward there from Vidius will spot him out, and they're just going to have to back away. It looks like they're giving up mid lane tower, and this gives up a lot of Dragon control as well.
Yeah, and also that means that the Maznarik is having to back away.
Has got teleport available.
They know the Dragon is though, because they've got a lot of visions there, seeing the entire Infused roster move over for it. So I think they have an indication as to that this is now going to happen, but they're just spending a lot of time immediately going down. Or if he's actually Vidius,
he's going to get taken out here. Geobert there, he's got the frozen team available. That's a very dead, not been long.
He actually got the feel onto Rifty.
To get the feel onto Rifty. The Dragon does go down. Vidius flashes away. Morello Nomicon is there for the Grievous Wounds, and Rapper flashes in for the kill. They're going to turn onto Quad Cannon. He'll have to get away if he can. Rifty's there. Nice tidal wave, going to knock it up, and Quad Cannon got the 3 talent strike. Maznarik teleports in, and Ezwar gets hooked in as well. A great little fight there for Infused. They pick up their 3rd Dragon of the game. They pick up 3 kills. 13-8 up now, and they're 3,000 gold in the league.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just no AP right now on Quad Cannon. He spent so long saving up and hasn't even got the gold for his Needlessly Large. He will have it very soon, but hasn't yet hit the target for the first item. Unfortunately, they just haven't got enough damage from him coming out to burst anyone at this point in time. So, not looking good for Cambridge. They had a really solid early game start, but again, Infused are just turning the handle.
It's what Infused do when they get into the mid game. They just turn that screw, and you see them, they itemize for it as well. Morello Nomicon picked up that Triforce already completed on Corki, and then almost a Triforce on your very, very fed Xin Zhao, sorry, as well. He is so strong at the moment.
Well.
Ganon flashes in onto Geobert, but the Glacial Path, that is the problem. Veigar into Lissandra. If she doesn't get stunned up immediately, she can just Glacial Path out of that. Yeah,
I know, and Quad Cannon definitely has a very, very hard game to, but I actually would have preferred to see him on his Syndra. I know that it sounds odd, but I feel like he would have had far more impact, and it would have been had such an easier laning phase versus both Lissandra and Xin Zhao. Obviously, Lissandra has the potential to outplay with that Frozen Tomb herself when the ultimate comes down, but maybe Quad Cannon is looking to play for the late game. But the difference between Infused and a lot of other UK teams is they're not a stalling team now.
They just finish the game.
They don't play like Choke, for instance. They don't wait to rotate around Dragons. Infused are just aggressive. You can see it from the way that Dan plays the jungle. They just take every advantage that they can, and they try to finish games very early on. You very rarely see an Infused game to go to like a ridiculously late game stage because they're just so good at capitalizing on their advantages.
And you can see it from their team comps as well. Look at this. They've got Xin Zhao. He's a great mid-game champion. They've got Corki, who spikes as soon as he gets that Triforce along with the Sorcerer's Shoes. They've got Lissandra, who good throughout the entire game, but as soon as she's getting some damage off with that Frozen Tomb and you get into these mid-game skirmishes, is so strong. And Thresh, of course, strong throughout the entire game. And you can see them with their rotations as well. Rotating up the top lane. They've got the inner tower in mid lane now. They're going to push down this top lane. Geobert there. They are just rotating off now towards red buff, but they're so good at managing the map, getting that map awareness down, and then out-rotating their opponents.
Yeah, they are looking to do that yet again. The problem is now for Cambridge is they just don't want to get caught out. If they get caught out, they're really going to struggle. And it's just because Infused have got this vision control in the jungle. Rapper
gets caught out. Look at the damage. Quad Cannon can still cannon his way through someone, destroying them as quickly as he wants, but he needs to start picking up more of those. With a needlessly large rod now, he is doing a little bit more damage, but Rapper's not going to position himself like that again.
I very much doubt it. It's a bit like the
Dan on kind of fexes him. Dan jumps onto him. Bezwar's there. The exhaust goes down. Meanwhile, Event Horizon on 3, but 50's jumped into the middle. The Frozen 2 comes down.
Oh my word!
Nice tidal wave. GeoBear's going to be the target on the back line. Quad Cannon survived for a long period of time. Doesn't pick up GeoBear. Kind of fexes and goes down though to Dan. And VDS is 1v3. He's going to go down. Wawa survives as well. A good little fight there for Infused. Rifty picking up a double kill again. 9-2 on that Xin Zhao. Spears and heals, Xscoundrel.
I don't know what Infused could, Cambridge can do against Rifty. He is the carry for Infused right now. The damage that he's doing, you'll just see here. So Carnifexing gets locked up. They go for Dan, but right now that's not where the action is. Quad Cannon gets burst, and that's a really big thing. VDS is on the outside, taking out GeoBear by himself, and this is Carnifexing. He gets locked up by the box. Had he not got locked up by the box, he may have been able to reposition and not go down to Rifty so easily, but great box from Wawa, caught Carnifex on the edge, and then Rifty cleaned up.
Wawa just gave his life for a tower there. Quad Cannon picked up another kill, which is great for him. Got his Deathfire grasp now as well. But Wawa taken out as they got the inhibitor tower in that top lane, and that's going to give Infused even more impetus to push these lanes now that they have that way into the enemy space without having to go through the laser of doom that is the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, so they've got so many options rather to look to push onto, and Avidius is trying to defend the only outer turret. The problem is for Cambridge right now is that they're just going up against this wrecking ball force of Infused who play things that you just do not expect. Yeah. And that's why they win and get so much advantage, is because who would have expected a mid lane Xin Zhao? It's just not, it's just so off meta that you probably couldn't have predicted it. But to be honest, Rifty, he's been impressive. I've been so impressed with him.
Played superbly well in this game, picked up his Blade of Ruin King now as well, and actually gone for a Ruby Crystal, so might be going towards a Black Cleaver there on Xin Zhao. You stack that up very quickly because of your 3 Talon Strike, but would be an interesting itemization for us.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Black Cleaver sounds like a good item for Xin Zhao, just because it will help out both Pantheon and Corki on a target that they want to burst down. Look, think about Black Cleaver. It's only worth building when you're looking to have a full AD team that needs to burst more armor than they have. But there's not too much armor that they're really facing up against. It just seems like a sort of a snowbally item here. Dan takes a lot of damage, a nice flash and Quad Cannon. Yeah,
Quad Cannon there. And meanwhile, there's a fight in the top lane. Dan's going to not quite go down, gets shielded up, manages to survive. They've gone on to Rifty in the top lane, though. Maznavik gets taken out. Rifty's 1v2. Yeah, he will. He's fighting up against VDS as well. Needs to be careful because the Omen of Death is back, and VDS is going to help out Maznavik with that kill, but almost 2v1 there.
Had the Omen of Death timed out, surely would have been a 2v1 for Rifty, but another dragon coming up here, another dragon, another day for Infused. And Dan's got to be careful that he doesn't actually go down to this dragon, because obviously...
well, you can see Wawa's positioning here. He's learned from the last game, he's positioned himself on the other side.
No, Wawa is the dragon tank.
Yeah, he's the dragon tank.
He knows. Wawa knows how to use saw that.
Will he pick up this 4 Nations Championship with that championship crash? Well, he's looking on form for it at the moment, 19-2 ahead. Infused are dominant in this game, 6,000 gold in the lead, 3 dragons to none. 4 dragons to none, sorry. Yeah. And just very difficult for the Dong squad to get back into this. Sorry, the Dongers. I like calling them the Dong squad. I think that's a great name.
The Cambridge Dongers, unfortunately, are not raised at this point in time. They're definitely having a bit more of a difficult game than one would expect, but obviously they did well in the early game. They dealt with the lane swap issues quite well, but unfortunately Quad Cannon getting caught out early meant that he definitely had a slow start. Has performed quite admirably up till that point anyway, despite the amount of pressure coming down onto him, and still managed to pick up 6 kills for his team. So again, maybe playing a little bit more of a champion that can survive the early game, a little bit less dependent on farming as well. Maybe like his Syndra, it was open, maybe scared to pick it as he thought he potentially wouldn't land it, so they had like a plan for it. Or maybe he just doesn't like playing against what he thought was going to be a Lissandra mid lane, but just Infused really taking a curveball here with that Xin Zhao mid, and really it's potentially been one of the majority of the reasons why they have managed to run away with this game is because of the surprise associated with that pick and that lane swap.
Most definitely. We see Infused rotating down towards this bot lane, going to try and put some pressure on the last inner tower available, but Rifty actually pings out, says, I'm going to go mid. I'm going to try and get this inhibitor tower, because then we have 2 ways into the enemy base. You can control 4 of them there. Maznavik is not with them at the moment. In fact, Rifty trying to rotate around the side here. it's going to get spotted out by that ward from the Cambridge Dongers.
Quad Cannon actually backing off, which is essentially saying we're going to give up this inner turret. He's gone to pick up...
He has got home guards though, he can get there quite quickly.
Yeah, and the problem is if Infused had the ability, which they are going to now, he still hasn't made it back. And to be honest, Cambridge probably don't even want to look to engage. Yeah. It's so difficult to defend an outer turret. It's so easily be collapsed on from either side. It's easy to defend the inhibitor turrets because they are just far more defensible. You've got those walls a bit like a fortress that you basically have to bottleneck through the turret to get there.
Especially against someone with an event horizon. Like if you get too close there, you're just going
to
have
the event horizon takes up the entire width of that entrance to the inhibitor turret area, so it provides a lot of good control over that turret area. But right now it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Cambridge to defend. They're using that event horizon just to stun up the minion waves so they have the chance to clear them. But you feel like it's an endeavor that is only going to buy them so much time.
Definitely feel like that at the moment. Infused slowly chipping away at the tower. It's losing brick and mortar by the second.
Oh, Mesnarek getting dived.
Is getting dived by Rifty. He pops the Omen of Death, and Rifty does take quite a bit of damage from that tower. Of course, it stacks up the more times the longer you tanked it, and does armor penetration as well. So would help out Mesnarek in a prolonged fight. But meanwhile, the rest of Infused, Wawa actually gets pulled out. Are they going to go all in? They are. Aquaphism on him as well. Don't pop the Primordial Burst, and Wawa will die to that final tower shot right at the end. Teleport cancelled there from Mesnarek. A good little pickup there for Cambridge Dongers.
It was again Quad Cannon with a fantastic event horizon. They didn't actually, I think they were a little bit tentative.
Yeah, like, do we want to go all in on the support?
On the Thresh, yeah. I mean, obviously you have to think about the cooldowns that you're going to burn as GeoBear has the threat of that path of ice.
But you look at it, they didn't actually burn any
of
them.
Quad
yeah, Quad Cannon's going to get locked up here, but BDS is there. Wow! Burst! Dan's going to get locked up under the tower for a second. He did come in with that Grand Sky for Mesnarek trying to come in from the side. The rest of Cambridge Dongers are not quite here. There is a Paranoia available, and there it goes. Going to go on to Rapper, but BDS taken out so quickly. Dan gets the kill. Carnifexism is here with the fray now. Going to pop onto that Dan. Is the Pantheon going to go down? Yes, he is. Mesnarek chasing onto Rapper now. He's got no mana. He flashes away, but Carnifexism is going to chase him down. And the Dongers manage to pick up a couple of kills. Meanwhile, Rifty goes for the inhibitor. Yeah, Rifty right now is the real force behind Infused, and I feel like if they fight without him, they're essentially going to be fighting on level terms with Cambridge. And you can see that as Mesnarek is going to try and defend Rifty. He can slow him down. Quad Cannon's here with home guards. He has the Event Horizon. He's going to get jumped on though. Event Horizon goes in. He tries to run away. He does. Oh, the Mikhail stops the Ignite tick, but he still goes down, and Rifty picks up the kill. Sorry, Mikhail's only stops the Grievous Wounds, doesn't stop the ticking. So the Ignite did pick him up even through that heal. Rifty in a 1-for-1 trade, even though he's in the top.
You can't help but feel Quad Cannon's choice of summoner spells is starting to haunt him a little bit now. Potentially the heal would have been better for him in both. And I would say against Infused, taking heal on Vygar should have been a standard. Because you know that you're going to have a lot of pressure put down onto you, and the heal would have been a lot easier. But I think he probably fancied his chances against GeoBear. And wanted to take the Ignite. Obviously was not expecting the Zinzao. Had he expected the Zinzao, I imagine it would have been very different. But like we said, all hindsight is 2020, and he's starting to suffer now. But he has got that Void Staff, so a lot of extra magic penetration coming down from him. We'll be able to deal with the small amounts of magic penetration, but look at this stack of Mercury Treads. On this Infused team.
Exactly what we expected.
Well, against a Vygar as a mid laner, you really just have to take those Mercury Treads. There isn't any other way about it. And Quad Cannon, unfortunately, not having the best of times against this team that have just stacked this tenacity.
They definitely have, and there is a Black Cleaver being finished up on Zinzao there, so he's going to go in for that extra harassment, the extra armor shred as well, going to help out Corki and the Pantheon, as you were saying earlier. Randuin's on Pantheon. Dan picking that up, just trying to help out his team a little bit. They have to be worried about Carnifexism. He's 3-1. He's got an Infinity Edge and a Status Shiv, almost got his Last Whisper as well, so he's still pretty beefy at the moment. Probably the standout member at the moment for the Cambridge Dongers. Yeah, definitely. Carnifex has had a really good game. I mean, I would say the bot lane from Cambridge has been the standout area for their side. Carnifex always performs well. You know, you have to. There's no reason to wonder why he has the meme Carniflexing, because he really does flex those wonderful AD carry monsters that he has. But this is going to be the 5th dragon of the game, I believe, if they do take it. And I have never seen a team lose with a 5 dragon. It's so big. 30% extra damage to minions and monsters, 30% extra damage to towers and turrets and inhibitors and buildings and Nexi and all of those things. 16% extra damage to extra AP and AD, and 10% extra movement speed. They're rotating the Baron as well. 5 dragon and a Baron buff. Infused must be unstoppable. It will be unstoppable. Obviously, the dragon buff
as in a 5 Dragon Buff, only lasts for 180 seconds, so you consistently have to take that Dragon Buff when you have 5. Medius knows about this now, though. So
doesn't have a ward, though, so he can't pop down. Bezwal's going to go in. Medius gets locked up, and they do manage to pick up the Dragon. Here comes Dan. The hook!
Oh, the hook from Wawa!
Across the wall, manages to land the hook, spans out a little laugh as well, and they manage to pick up VDS, pick up the Baron, and probably, you have to think, pick up the win.
I'm almost certain that they can push straight down, they can dive, they can probably do whatever they please at this point in time. There's not many ways that the Cambridge Dongers can stop this force. You've got to just really realise the power of a 5 Dragon buff, let alone a 5 Dragon buff with Baron. Look at the damage onto that turret as Wawa goes for a flash hook and misses. They can easily take this inhibitor. They can probably fight very easily also. VDS up in 10 seconds. Does have that paranoia if they want to go for the engagement. Would you go for an engagement against this team? I'm not sure I would.
No, especially with VDS not being as big as he'd like to be. Now the target gets locked up. Look at the damage there. Tidal Wave comes out. They do manage to pick up that Pantheon in return, but the hook not quite landing there from GeoBear. It's a force to be reckoned with. Super minions with Baron, but are absolutely huge. Box comes down from Wawa just to try and lock people out. He gets a Event Horizon.
Oh, wow.
He gets Wawa goes down. Rapper's the next target. Paranoia's out. Rapper Valkyrie's away, but he's going to get jumped on. GeoBear's there as well. VDS is fighting up against Rapper and GeoBear. He gets one. He manages to get away for a second as well. Pops
he dodges
the Ice Shard, but will get taken out by the Ignite. By the Ice Shard. Quad Cannon going to get locked up here. GeoBear is so big. He flashes the Aquabism as well. Bezwa is the only one left standing here on the side of the Cambridge Dongers. It's GeoBear versus Bezwa. I'm pretty sure GeoBear wins that fight.
Yeah, and there's a lot of time for GeoBear to try and push these turrets down too. He's got a lot of Baron up minions. Look at the Baron up in
Super
minion right there. Look at the damage it's taking as Mazna jumps straight in.
Is in. Bezwa. GeoBear's going to tank up the tower for a second. Pops the Zhonya's. Will keep giving that Baron buff to the minions. Not able to pick up Bezwa. But they are going to go for that tower. It's very low. Nexus not going to go down. The minions, of course, lose Baron buff as soon as their ally champion dies. And actually, getting all of the Barons off there from Infused is pretty good for Cambridge Dongers. They lost most of their base, but they did manage to get rid of that Baron
Still
buff.
got to contend with the 5 Dragon buff, which should be running out fairly soon. It's only a 3-minute buff, but obviously it's still a big thing to go toe-to-toe with. To be honest, Cambridge are essentially looking into the faces of the void right now. But they've had a good game, in my opinion, from what we expected of them to come out fighting against a team that is known for their amazing tactical play and bringing really, really crazy stuff out of the woodwork. I'd say they've had a pretty good game. 10-9-3 in Quad Cannon as well, despite having that horrific early game. The guy has definitely stepped up to the mark. Hasn't managed to stack his Q as much as I think he would have liked to. It's only at 140 at 32 minutes, which isn't too bad. It's about an extra Rabadon's Death Cap worth of AP minus the 30% bonus.
Maz9's going to jump on here. The rest of his team's down the corner. They're going to turn on to Rapper, but here comes Rifty across the wall. That is a dead Maz9. Tidal Wave comes out as well. GeoBear going to not follow up on his glacial path. They do just back away. They've already picked up the tower in the bottom lane as well, so Infused able just to keep on with this pushing pressure that they have. Raph actually Valkyried in to try and get onto Maz9. I'm not sure he realised that was just the Omen of Death, which was about to die. So.
Yeah, to be honest.
Oh, here comes Grand Skyfall. GeoBear gets locked up though. He's going to get destroyed.
Nice
just in time. Kind of effective is the target. GeoBear will survive. They'll get the inhibitor tower. They should get the inhibitor. They probably will get the game off this as well. Infused have been a dominant force in the last 2 games. They're going to go 2-0. Not many people who can face up against them now. Only really FM Esports with the opportunity to hit out Infused's record.
It puts the pressure on FM.
Oh, definitely. VD's going to jump onto Rifty, but the Nexus is going to go down here. Infused will take the win in 34 minutes or so. VD's the target, but there goes the Nexus. There goes the win. Exactly 34 minutes. For Infused, and they win 30 kills to 22 against the Cambridge Dongers.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant game there from Infused, and again, stellar performance, 2 games in a row, and now they're 2-0 in Group B. Absolutely, Group A rather, absolutely ridiculous. I've got to say, FM, they're going to be feeling the squeeze now from Infused. If they want to get that top spot, not face choke in the semi-finals, they're going to have to turn the lid and the pressure on, because right now I believe the final game of the day is FM versus Infused, and if both teams win, which Infused have done, I think Infused now have a break until the end of the day. FM now have to win both of their games. If FM win both of their games, that'll be a final game of the day.
Die-hard final game.
Die-hard final game.
Winner takes first, plays up against Rift in the semi-finals, and then Choke, of course, will play the loser, and that's the big game. People don't want to take that second place. Choke are on form at the moment.
Yeah, Choke are probably the scarier of teams from Group B. So there we are.